Coming up next on In the Game.
It's just one of them things that kind of brings the family together, and we can bring people in the neighborhood together.
How one family brought the fun to their backyard this past winter.
Next, a high school hockey player who prefers to live on the ice, despite putting his health at risk.
You're probably a pinched nerve or something, you ran into the boards.
And a brotherhood built stronger from success on the wrestling mat.
And my one teammate taps me on the shoulder and she's like, "Brooke, like, your ears are like the size of your hand." Like.
Then we'll hear how one athlete battled more than the competition on the pitch. Plus, a truly shocking tale and the one lucky basketball coach who lived to tell it and coach on.
Lastly, we'll learn the story of one Penn State basketball star who, in the face of tragedy, let basketball guide him to a place of hope.
Shane really took being a big brother serious.
In the Game starts right now. Good afternoon, I'm Riley Curry.
And I'm Austin Groft. Welcome back to another episode of In the Game. We start on the doorstep of State College and we'll take you all over the state to share stories of cool people doing cool things.
Evan Papalis starts us off. Evan?
Family time is special, no matter how or where you spend it. Let's introduce you to the Dixon family in Lamont. They have found a unique way to bond with each other, at least in the wintertime.
Ice hockey is a unifying sport, one that brings its players together. Teammates tend to call each other family. That narrative hits close to home for the Dixon household. With a house full of hockey players and advocates, it's no secret they are diehard fans. But where does the family go to play? Right outside their back door. For the last 6 years, Lamont resident Bill Dixon has continued his tradition of setting up an ice rink in his own yard.
It takes me anywhere from like 20 to 30 hours, depending on how motivated I am.
The lengthy build time all feels worth it. The family hits the ice during the winter in the morning and at night. Bill's wife, Misty, had only positive things to say about the major time sacrifice her husband makes.
We just love it. We absolutely love it. For a while there, we did Friday Night Lights, and it was all the parents came for Friday nights, and they even made a tag for Facebook called it Dixon Ice Palace, so like you can tag yourself in that location.
Even their 2-year-old son Atticus joins in on the fun.
The first thing he said when he crawled out of bed this morning was like, "Skate, skate, ice skate," and I was like, wow, he's pretty excited to be out there already.
The impressive skills from the little guy grew quickly.
He's actually only been skating since Christmas.
Bill believes the long hours of preparation are all worth it.
It's just one of them things that kind of brings the family together, and we can bring people in the neighborhood together, and it just seems like it makes life out here in this area a lot better in the wintertime.
There's also some competition throughout the neighborhood. The Kids versus Parents game is a tradition that has stuck at the backyard rink.
This year was a little rough, you know. one of the parents, he laid his kid out over there, not on purpose, but it was like they collided, you know.
No matter who gets the win, everybody involved enjoys the show.
Oh, it's so much fun. We do it every year, and a lot of us parents do not skate very well at all, but we still get on the ice.
And at the end of the day, it is all love.
Hockey people are family already. They're the greatest people you ever meet. They really, really are.
A spill or two can even come from a vet on skates, but Bill always enjoys every minute of it.
Bill provides his family the opportunity to play the sport they cherish the most on a daily basis in the winter. Having the easy access to the rink in their backyard provides memories that will last a lifetime. For In the Game, I'm Evan Papalis.
We move on to another heartwarming story. And again, we're keeping it cool on the ice.
Our next reporter, Jacob Charis, brings us back to State College to meet one young man who won't be stopped.
A rink rat is someone who can't leave the ice rink because of their love for the sport. One high school athlete is continuing to play hockey despite his limitations.
Ice hockey is tough, fast, and intense. This is Adam Teal. He's a junior at State High. You might think he's a normal 17-year-old. Ice hockey runs in his blood. He has been playing at different levels since he was 6 years old.
I kind of like the speed, and I like it, I guess, being cold. I think that helps. And just on skates, it's a unique game, and I really enjoy that part of it.
Adam fell in love with the Pittsburgh Penguins. He started out playing goalie and then moved up to defense, but none of those positions fit his style.
Aaron and I took him out on the ice, actually, at Greensburg before Pagula was even out there. And we went to an open skate, and we tried on some skates with him, and he skated a little bit, and we held him a little bit. It's a lifetime sport that we wanted him to get used to.
However, there was something lingering inside.
In November, around Thanksgiving time of my 5th grade year, so 2015, I had this pain in my arm that I couldn't really describe where it was coming from or why it was happening, and it kind of continued to progress to get worse and worse, and that was kind of when I started to think that it might be a problem.
You could tell that he was in a lot of pain, and as a parent, you don't want to see your child in pain, and so, you know, every time he would say he was in pain, I would say, okay, you know, we probably should get it checked out.
The pain got worse. That was when his parents decided to go see Adam's pediatric doctor.
I originally said, oh, you're probably a pinched nerve or something. You ran into the boards, so maybe it'll resolve itself. And we knew within a month that it wasn't, because it just kept getting worse and worse.
The doctor recommended to go see an orthopedic surgeon in Hershey. The orthopedic surgeon scheduled an MRI of his spine.
It was supposed to be an hour and a half, and it turned into 6 hours. And so when I came out, I didn't know anything was wrong.
That was not the case. The doctors diagnosed Adam with Chiari malformation, a brain condition that creates lots of pressure around the spinal cord and prevents spinal fluid from going all the way around the brain.
It builds up pressure, and it causes a thing called a syrinx, where there's fluid in your brainstem.
Adam was in the hospital for the next week. It was difficult for him to perform basic motor functions.
Even coming home for the first few weeks, it was really tough. I was kind of stuck either in bed or just on the couch, and I couldn't move at all.
Doctors told his family one word that no one wants to hear.
My first reaction was definitely, we need a second opinion, because it was so scary what they were trying to say when somebody says, you know, your son needs brain surgery.
The doctors moved part of his brain so it would create less pressure around his spinal cord. He gained weight due to his inability to move. He had trouble sleeping, and his hockey career was in jeopardy. But Adam had hope.
I knew that my road to recovery would end with me playing hockey again.
And it did. But his first game back was not ideal.
It was in the third period. He was fighting for the puck right in front of the goalie in the crease, and the goalie came out and just hit him right across the back with a stick and knocked him down on the ice. And there was a minute that everything just stopped for a second to make sure he was okay, but he just jumped right back up and just kept skating.
Even after that play, Adam is back to being a normal high school teenager. He is still playing the game he loves, but without contact, with his parents watching in the stands. Adam Teal might have this rare condition, but he is still a normal 17-year-old.
Adam is still getting treatment for his condition. His parents say that his dedication to hockey was what pushed him through his tough journey. For In the Game, I'm Jacob Charis.
Our next story takes us to Northeast PA.
It's a battleground for some of the best high school wrestling in the country. Let's send it over to reporter Alexis Yoder with more.
Parrish McFarland burst onto the Schuylkill League wrestling scene as a freshman. It's something that means more to the Pottsville native outside of trophies and championships. The sport helped to build a bond between him, another wrestler, and a coach. One high school wrestling season, one state tournament appearance. Parrish McFarland immediately took the league by storm last season, winning a title and clinching second place in both the District 11 and Northeast regional tournaments. But Parrish didn't always picture himself excelling on the mat.
When I was younger, I would just go out there and just quit sometimes because I didn't like it.
He started wrestling at 4 years old, but didn't start enjoying the sport until junior high. Flash forward a year, and he's claiming his first of 2 consecutive gold medals at the league tournament and earned a spot at the state tournament as a freshman at Pottsville Area High School.
Never expected it. It was like a wow moment that you just ended up in the finals due to all the hard work you've been doing in the room.
Parrish's father and Pottsville's assistant junior high coach, Brad Leonard, wants nothing more than to see his son wrestle at the college level.
I don't know if it'll happen. I hope Parrish wrestles in college.
Parrish's dad would love to see him wrestle at a place like Rec Hall at a college like Penn State, but Parrish might go a different route for college athletics after he's done at Pottsville.
Parrish's main goals lie in football. He says he wants to play the sport in college, but the success and memories he's made in wrestling make his mind stray from that path.
When you're out there competing and then winning and then spending time with the team, because there's no other sport where you spend time with your team as much as you do with wrestling.
One of Parrish's teammates stands out among the rest. Parrish's younger brother Terrell also wrestles at Pottsville. They are 2 years apart and wrestling at different levels, but Parrish and Terrell still find ways to push each other, even if they don't take each other's advice all the time.
Maybe sometimes I should, most of the time I don't, but he listens a lot more to me than I listen to him.
The brothers and their father have traveled the continent for wrestling tournaments, going as far as Las Vegas, Nevada, and Fargo, North Dakota.
He came in, maybe because of seeing his brother do it, his attitude was, when he stepped on the mat, you have to beat him. In his mind, he was always best.
Though they share the same last name, Terrell's wrestling journey showed promising signs far earlier than Parrish's did. As an 8th grader, Terrell holds titles from both the District 11 Junior High Tournament and the Pennsylvania Junior Wrestling State Championship. He also won 2 gold medals from the Under-15 Pan American Championships. Terrell represented Team USA in Huastepec, Mexico, and won gold in both Greco-Roman and freestyle wrestling. Though he's not even in high school yet, Terrell has a few goals in mind for his future in athletics.
I really want to be in the Olympics, trying with like freestyle and Greco. Also, I want to be in like the NFL and like boxing and UFC.
How did Terrell accomplish so much at a young age?
We're not training hard, somebody else always is.
With guidance from their dad, Parrish and Terrell stay engaged in training throughout the year. The practices, the traveling, the matches, the workouts. Everything involved with wrestling builds the bond stronger between Parrish, Terrell, and their dad. Terrell and Brad were there to cheer him on the entire weekend. Now they are in the middle of another off-season of training. For In the Game, I'm Alexis Yoder.
Moving on, the competition in a college soccer season can be tough.
So is competing against your own body. Reporter Justin Morgenstein has that story.
Brooke Stake was a talented young soccer player with a desire to play at the next level. And while she still remains involved with college sports today, it didn't quite go just as she had imagined.
What really made me realize that I wanted to play at the next level was when I tore my ACL ligament in 10th grade and I couldn't play for a year. And it was like the hardest year of my life, not playing the sport I love and watching all my best friends play around me.
She also was a competition cheerleader, so at the same time she played soccer, so she was really busy.
But for Stake, it was always soccer that was her passion.
Hi, my name's Brooke Stake. I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I'm a defender, and my major is broadcast reporting.
We had a home game. When I played at Point Park, we would play at the Pittsburgh Riverhounds Stadium. Super nice. One of the reasons why I picked to go there. I love the city and love the field. So Point Park's like right across the bridge in the river from our field. So I was just hanging out with my teammates in my dorm room, just getting ready for the game, getting all pumped up. It was Halloween day. We had plans to go to a big party after to celebrate. So we were all excited, looking forward to it.
But little did she know, Stake would not arrive at that party.
My husband and my son and a friend of Brooke's all went to watch her play. We actually drove from Harrisburg to Pittsburgh that day to watch her play. And we saw her warming up, and it was a big game, and we were all excited because everybody was there. And it was right when the game was starting. And I saw like her coach like waving me down.
I was still running around playing, shooting. I remember exactly I was on the left side of the field. And we go in for the team huddle right away. And my one teammate taps me on the shoulder and she's like, Brooke, like, your ears are like the size of your hand, like your face, like you're swelling up, like you need to go to our trainer. We go to the hospital, I go right in the ER, Kate carries me in right away, they put me in a room, and they gave me IVs and stuff, and suddenly you could just watch my face and body just like puff down to normal. And I'm like, what is going, like, why did that just happen to me? So I ended up going home for spring break. I live right down the street from Hershey Medical Center, very good hospital. I met up with the best like allergist there, basically saved my life. His name's Dr. Craig. And he basically told me I had this condition called cholinergic urticaria.
Cholinergic urticaria. It's a reaction that results in tiny hives surrounded by large patches of red skin. Essentially, Steak was allergic to her own sweat, which meant that she wouldn't be able to pursue the game she loved any longer. Steak decided to make a change. She would be heading to Penn State, where she would continue to pursue her broadcasting career.
When I first got here last fall, like I was just consigned to like my room. Like I joined clubs on Zoom. It was hard to meet new friends. It was hard to go out. I like knew no one. I got here and was like a stranger, but after joining a lot of clubs and just like being brave and just reaching out to people, I ended up making some of the best friends in my life. So I'm very glad that I did transfer here and I got really involved in comm, and I'm really glad I did.
I'm extremely proud of how well she's done in school, like Dean's List, and I've gotten involved in so many activities. She's never afraid to do anything.
We'll be covering the latest news happening around Penn State and across the nation.
Steak hopes to stay involved in sports as her future unfolds, perhaps even soccer. For In the Game, I'm Justin Morgenstein.
Our stories all have twists and turns. Now it's time to tell a story of a local family who had to push through pain and tragedy.
A former Penn State professor and coach has experienced some life-changing moments. Some say he's a living legend.
That's it, Izzy. Hey, nice shot, Desi.
Sports teach life lessons within the game. This is Mike Morse.
Free, you let her take you to school.
He's been a basketball coach for over 30 years. That's a life full of relationships.
I've been blessed to have a real impact on a ton of different kind of people as a result of teaching and coaching.
Mike remembers his career with his Hall of Fame wall in the basement of his house.
He was the point guard for Penn State.
No trophies in sight, memories and stories from top to bottom.
He has the heart of a competitor.
Coaching was the plan, even as a kid.
Probably 8th grade, I had an inkling that I wanted to teach and coach.
Morse played basketball at Shippensburg University. Later, he transferred
back to Penn State, and that was the start of what I would consider a great love affair at Penn State. I was a walk-on who never played, never saw the court once in my entire time at Penn State.
Mike attended law school shortly after and realized this was not his path. He eventually went on to get his first head coaching position at Penns Valley.
Many years later, I realized that I was in the right place.
Mike has inspired many. His own inspiration comes from his family.
I've met some really incredible people, but my dad was my hero for the simple fact that he was a very humble, and I have his wedding ring on my that I wear every day. And when he gave that to me on his deathbed, I was laying there, sitting there beside him, crying.
His dad died of cancer, and Mike himself would then face his own 2 different kinds of cancer.
You know, I don't know how he does it, really. When I think of all the surgeries he's had, I mean, just the health issues alone, you know, other experiences, you know, great ones, but difficult ones too.
His son Willie also shares his father as a hero.
The coolest thing is to grow up as a coach's son and then become a coach yourself, learning from everything that he's done and his example that he set, and really learning to love the game, enjoy it, and be a part of it.
Back in the basement, every bond and story came from his career. Some stories are hard to believe. This one shared by Mike and his son.
When we went into the Peterborough Hospital after I got struck by lightning and watched my son physically die, and had my best friend in life look at me and say, "I'm really sorry he died," because I'm telling you, he convulsed like a fish in a boat, turned and looked at me, and physiologically understand the signs of death, and he gave the death sigh, turned blue, and just flopped in front of us. I mean, he shouldn't be alive.
I remember being in the tent when we were on our fishing trip, waiting the storm out. I remember getting hit, and I remember that, and being kind of thrown in the air, and then asking if everyone was okay, and then they said, how do you think you are? I said, I think I'm good, but I'm going to die.
I witnessed a miracle, and this is a reminder to me that life is finite and fragile, and every day is precious.
The two now coach together. Their passion continues to inspire.
That's it. Come on, Desi, she's getting you back.
You can say he's still living by the Morse code.
Good job, Desi. That's it.
Mike and Willie now coach two girls' AAU basketball teams who compete every year at the national level.
Staying on the basketball court, one of Penn State's star basketball players had a different season than most. Senior point guard Sam Sessoms was playing for something bigger than basketball. I traveled to his West Philadelphia home to get the story. Free college tuition, private flights, sponsorships, access to unlimited amenities, photo ops, press conferences, and thousands of people knowing your name. Those are just a few perks that come with being a Division I athlete at Penn State University.
It's definitely like a dream come true in a way. You know, we just hopping on plane to plane, city to city, just playing basketball. So, I mean, at moments I feel like a superstar.
A superstar. After one quick glance at his lifestyle, you might switch spots with Sessoms in a heartbeat. But what you might not know is the sacrifice that comes with his story. Sessoms grew up in a high-crime, low-poverty neighborhood. Then he found his first love, basketball. The concrete courts of West Philadelphia and his local community center was his escape. His father, Samuel Sessoms Sr., introduced him to the game.
His first word really was ball. Really was ball.
Sessoms transferred from Binghamton University to Penn State in 2020 and instantly became a valuable member of the team. But 1 year later, his life changed forever.
And then my little brother recently passed on September 16th. And then my dad got shot up at the same time with him. That whole like event was tough. It was just tragic, you know, still trying to get through that recovery and all that. But my dad survived, so, you know, that was a positive. Unfortunately, my little brother passed away.
This happened a few months after his 5-year-old little sister was shot in her leg while she was playing outside with friends.
But in Philly, it's like a completely different lifestyle we live. A lot of things you like grow up to, you're accustomed to it. That's like a lot of options for people, like, you know, jail or death back at home.
The loss of Sidney Sessoms has deeply impacted the entire Sessoms family.
To Sam, Sid was always like his #1 fan. Sam really took being a big brother serious. His little brothers and sisters talk about him all the time. His mom all the time. His older sister Sapphira. We were the tree. There was 7 of us, and one of the limbs are gone. So, and it's hard when you know that limb can't grow back. So,
Sessoms' family is his first priority. But with being a Division I college athlete, he describes the sense of survivor's guilt.
Like if I would, I'd trade my spot with all my little brothers and sisters, let them go to college while I stay down there and struggle. I trade spots with my little brother that passed away. I would have been in the streets and he could have been in school. Things like that. Trade spots with my parents, friends, you know, everybody, you know, so there's definitely a lot of pressure.
Sessoms just finished his senior season. The team made a run to the Big Ten tournament, but fell short. For the fans, coaches, and university, Sessoms has a spotlight, a number, and a slick shot. But when the court is empty and lights are off, Sessoms is a symbol of hope in his neighborhood. For his family, a leader, the greatest of all time, and a best friend to his younger brother. That's a legacy you could be proud of. Sessoms is once again in the transfer portal after playing 2 seasons at Penn State with 2 different coaching staffs and has already been impressive. Scoring has been his thing, and he put up plenty of points in his career. Sessom was number 2 on the team in total points this past season. He scored more than 550 points in 2 seasons at Penn State. He left Binghamton's as the conference's leading scorer, averaging 20 points a game. Now he will have eligibility to play 1 more year to light up scoreboards, and maybe he could have a shot at the pros. And that wraps up this episode of In the Game.
And be sure to check out some of our other stories to meet more cool people doing cool things. We'll see you next time.